Assalamualaikum and greetings. I'm Cik Rushairi and I will present my final year project with the title Activity Budget and the Feeding Behavior of JAVAN RUSA in Captivity. JAVAN RUSA is a native animal of Indonesia and it has been introduced to many countries including Malaysia, and they are kept in captivity for many reasons. The welfare of the JAVAN RUSA in captivity plays a very important role to keep the normal behavior among the deer. In a captive, the aggression also can occur during the feeding time, especially when feeding in a the day enclosure in TPTA is small, which limit the movement of them. And TPTA's deer enclosure is also smaller than other huge captivity, and the location of the enclosure in TPTA also is surrounded by the jogging track and the badminton area, which might cause disturbance and discomfort to captive. This study is important to provide more knowledge on the daily behavior of captive JAVAN RUSA, give useful information to the Taman Pemandaran Tengku Anis management, and provide information of captive JAVAN RUSA feeding behavior within the limited feeding environment. And the objective of the study are to investigate the activity budget of captive JAVAN RUSA during daytime and also the feeding behavior of JAVAN RUSA during concentrated feeding. For activity budget, live scan sampling technique was used, and there was two sessions which are morning and evening. And here's the hectogram of the general behavior that will be observed. For feeding behavior, 15 minutes of continuous observation was recorded immediately after the concentrated feed were given. And the duration of feeding, frequency of aggressive that occurred during the concentrated feeding were recorded. And here's the histogram of the behavior of deer during concentrated feeding that will be observed. For activity budget, the proportion of general behavior was analyzed using generalized linear model, which fit a binary logistic. For feeding behavior, the frequency of aggressiveness was analyzed using GLM that fit a negative binomial with a log link. Well, the duration of feeding cannot be analyzed as the data was not being taken correctly. For the first part of the result and discussion, you will answer the first objective in the study. We start with alert, which they turning outward, and each canal is facing forward with its head up. So, in general, session alone will show no significant difference for alert. So, however, adult in age show otherwise. But when we look at interaction, adults perform mostly alert behavior in the morning compared to the others. So, since the since the deer captive at TPTA was surrounded by the jogging track and badminton area, and most people went to TPTA in the morning, so there is a possibility that the high alert performance by the adult was caused by the human present. As reported in the previous study, they feel harm when near the people. Feeding is when concentrated feed is being taken into just mouth or show. So in general, session and age alone will show significant difference for feeding. And as we can see on the table, there is significant interaction where feeding was performed mostly by the adult in the morning. So adult tends to require more energy and more protein for their growth instead of the juvenile. So adult male need to get enough food in order to develop his antlers. And in another study, adult female also need more energy to produce their milk. Deer is motionless with head up, known as idling. So in general, session alone shows significant difference where idling was performed mostly by the adult, but there was no significant for age alone. And as we can see on the table, there is significant interaction where idling was performed mostly by the adult in the morning compared with juvenile. So perhaps this is because of the high interaction with visitor that went to the TPTA during the morning in the morning. When deer is making chewing movement using its mouth while standing, walking or lying, that means they are ruminating. So for ruminating behavior, there was no significant difference for session and age alone. There was also no interaction between session and age. So it was predicted that ruminating behavior would have significant interaction between session and age. So perhaps this because of the data was not taken correctly during the scan sampling. And a similar finding in JAVAN RUSA, where no significant difference was found between age sex variation for ruminating. Deer is lying with its head on the ground is known as head down, and for this behavior there was no significant interaction between session and age. However, head down showed a significant difference in session alone, where head down was mostly performed in the evening. Age alone was also showed a significant difference, where head down behavior was mostly performed by the juvenile. Adult performed head down mostly in the morning, perhaps because of the less presence of human at that time. The second objective for the study was answered in this part of result and discussion. Pushing is when they move other individual forcefully using their body. There was also significant difference between pushing and age. Adult display higher pushing behavior compared to the juvenile. So perhaps because of the traits of the adult predominate over those of juvenile as reported in the previous study, social hierarchy are established within a herd by dominance behavior. The presence of horns, increasing age, and body size are important determinants of the dominance. When there is being moved forcefully by others, it shows significantly different in age. Adults perform this behavior higher than the juvenile, and perhaps this is because the mother were being pushed by their fawns, especially during the concentrated feeding for them to lactating. So it is similar to other. Pushing is when they push own body between two other individuals, so there was no significant difference can be seen between pushing and age. However, adult display higher push-in behavior compared to the juvenile, so perhaps it is because due to the size of the feed containers and also the distance between the feed containers. In conclusion, adults display high in alert, feeding, idling, head down, and ruminating behavior. The general behavior of the JAVAN RUSA was influenced by age, session, human presence, and also the resource availability. During the concentrated feeding, adults display high pushing, being pushed, and also push-in behavior. Less time and lack of data limit the result obtained in the study. For the recommendation, this study should be conducted in a longer time, and more study on captivity budget and feeding behavior of JAVAN RUSA should be conducted to obtain more information. And lastly, the management should give extra attention to the deer and be aware on the deer's daily activity and their feeding schedule to improve their welfare. So that's all from me. Thank you.